So we'll be starting our today's session, and in the beginning we will be discussing just the last class topics once, and we will start the new session after that. Okay, so let me share my screen with you guys. So I hope everyone is doing okay, and I assume everyone here is in Kerala only, or are there anyone outside Kerala? Anyways, in Kerala, it is very heavy rain in my area, and there are chances that our video will be off due to loss of electricity. So kindly cooperate if something like that happens, okay?
I am from Andhra, ma'am.
Oh, you're from Andhra?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Tamil Nadu here. Okay, okay. So Kirti is from Tamil Nadu and UP. Who is UP here? Can you say your name, UP? Whoever the person UP was, uh, Ubama. Okay, Ubama was very active in last session. And Ubama, you are from Andhra or someone else here? Karnataka. Okay, okay. So in Kerala, it was very heavy summer, and at last it rained. A big rain happened yesterday night and today. So there is thunder and lightning and things like that. So there are chances. Okay, I will inform you if something like that happens. My screen is visible, right? So during last session, we discussed the major characteristics of research and some different type of research, right? So anyone can summarize something regarding last class? Anyone? Any topic discussed during last session will be okay. Anyone? Either in chat or you can unmute and say that is fine. Anyone, please?
Longitudinal types of research, qualitative and quantitative research.
Yeah.
And their characteristics.
Yeah, okay, okay. So we had discussed what the definition of research was. We discussed what the characteristics of research was. And after that, we discussed the different type of research, which were based on different criteria. Okay. So we, as Ubama, right? She mentioned, I guess, I cannot see whoever it is speaking. So that is why the confusion. Okay. So the one who spoke right now said that we discussed quantitative and qualitative research, right? We discussed quantitative and qualitative research. We discussed pure research and applied research. Then we discussed longitudinal and cross-sectional, explorative and descriptive research. Then further, we discussed different kinds of quantitative research, which was experimental research, ex post facto research, correlational research. Then we discussed different kinds of qualitative research, which were narrative research, ethnographic research, and historical research. Okay, so I hope everyone has got a good idea about whatever all those topics were. Today, we will be discussing a very important part of research aptitude, which is steps of research. Okay, so steps of research is a very important topic because it is a very elaborate topic, and it has many subdivisions, and questions come from every step of research. Okay, so we'll look into every step in detail. So this is what the different step of research are. The first step is formulation of research problem. Second one is review of literature. Third one is formulation of hypothesis. Fourth one is preparation of research design. Then determining sample design, data collection, analysis of data, testing of hypothesis, interpretation of the result, and writing the report. Okay, so these are the 10 different steps of research. When we discussed what are the characteristics of research, we have clearly mentioned that research is a systematic process, right? And it has clearly defined steps. So those clearly defined steps are these 10 steps, okay? So one has to go through each and every step, then only the research will be complete. One cannot skip one step and then jump to another. That is not possible in research. One has to go through each and every step. So we'll be discussing each step in detail, and I will be telling some steps here are exclusive to quantitative research only. So which steps are those and which are common in quantitative and qualitative, we will be discussing all that. So the first step here, as you know, is a formulation of a research problem. Okay, this is a simple diagram showing the different steps in a picturized format. So you can see that first step is identify the problem. Second is evaluate the literature. Third is create hypothesis, research design, describe population, data collection. Is anyone speaking? Is there any problem? I hope it was by mistake. So the next step, data collection, data analysis, report writing. Okay, this is another picturized format of research step. So at times some step merges, some step become skipped in some versions, but major steps are these 10 steps. Okay, so the first step is formulation of research problem. So what is research problem? We will be first discussing what is research problem. So research problem is a specific issue or question that a researcher aims to investigate or address through the systematic inquiry. So we have discussed that what exactly research is, and we had said that research is a systematic inquiry into a subject or problem. So one has to first understand what the problem or subject one has to investigate. Okay, so it is an elaborate process. First and foremost, the researcher should identify what his area of interest is. Okay, so Saida, can you please unmute? Sorry, mute. I have muted her. Okay, so the researcher has a big area of interest. Okay, so as I mentioned in the last class, my area or my subject of study is psychology. So psychology is a very big area. Okay, so if I want to research something, I want to narrow down my area of interest. Okay, so if I say my area is psychology, there are many different subtopics or different branches in psychology itself. So there is social psychology, there is educational psychology, there is organizational psychology, etc., etc. So there are many psychological areas. Okay, so first of all, I should understand what my area of interest is. So after much reading or different type of discussions and everything, or after much reading and everything, I understand that my area of interest is social psychology. Okay, so social psychology itself is a very big area in itself. So next, I should read social psychology and then understand what exactly in social psychology I want to study. So after much thought and brainstorming, reading, discussions and everything, I come to the conclusion that in social psychology, what did I say? Pro-social behavior. That is a subtopic in social psychology. So I understand that this pro-social behavior is what my area of interest is. So what process was exactly going on there? I just understand what my area of interest is. From that, I understood what my I narrow down what specifically my area of interest is. So after that, I wanted to formulate what I should study in this pro-social behavior. So I understand that my area of interest is pro-social behavior. Now I should further narrow down. Sorry. After that, I should further narrow down what exactly I should study in pro-social behavior. So after much reading and everything, I come to the conclusion that I want to study why people engage in pro-social behavior. Is there any relationship between pro-social behavior and personality? So I just, after much reading and everything, I come to the research problem I want to investigate. So what I want to investigate is if there is any relationship between pro-social behavior and engagement in pro-social behavior and personality. So that is what I want to investigate. Okay, so the research problem is set. So this entire process was not easy. It was a very Herculean task, which one must undergo after several brainstorming sessions, several reading sessions, several discussion sessions. So it takes time. Okay, it takes hell amount of times. Sometimes one will fix at this point where one cannot understand what their area of interest is. So understanding what their area of interest and coming to a research problem or narrowing down their research problem is a Herculean task. So that is the first and foremost step of research. So the research problem must be clearly defined. So the characteristics of research problem is it should be clearly defined, it should be relevant, and it should be feasible. So a clear definition, you understand that there is prosocial behavior. So I should be clear about what prosocial behavior is. So I have already said I will be studying, my research problem is the relationship between prosocial behavior and personality, or is there any relation between prosocial behavior and personality? That is what my research problem is. So the research problem should be clearly defined. I should be defining what do I mean by the term prosocial behavior? What do I mean by the word personality? So I should be clearly defining all that terms in that research problem. And I should be taking a research problem that is very relevant. Okay. So if I take a question or a research problem that is irrelevant at this point of time, then that research should not be further moved. Okay. One should cancel such a research because it does not have any relevance. Then why should one engage in that research and waste their time? Okay. So the research problem should be relevant. Okay. And the research it should be feasible. What do you mean feasible? By feasible, one means that one can do the research. If you are trying to understand a problem or investigate problem which cannot be done within our power, then that is not feasible. So the research problem should be feasible, it should be manageable. Okay. If the budget of the research is very high and we have very few amount of money, that is not possible, right? The research is not feasible. So one should be understanding all that constraints, financial constraints, time constraints, understanding all those constraints and feasible into that constraint, the research problem should be, right? So the characteristics of research problem is it is clearly defined, it should be relevant, and it should be feasible within the constraints of the research project. Then how should one formulate the research problem? One should formulate the research problem in a clear and concise format. Okay, the research problem should be very clear. Whatever the research problem is trying to communicate, it should be very clear and it should be very concise. One cannot elaborate the research problem. The research problem should be very concise in its format. Then it should be very specific statement. Okay, you cannot tell the background information the research problem. One has to just tell what their research problem is. Okay, so the research problem should be a clear, concise, and a specific statement. Okay, the research problem should be in a statement format. That is very important. It should not be in a question format. So I should be writing it as the relationship between what is my research problem. I want to investigate the relationship between prosocial behavior and personality. So I hope research problem is very clear to you. It is a specific issue or question that a researcher wants to investigate or address. Then it as a first step, one should narrow down their research problem after further very much reading, brainstorming, experience, etc. Then it should be very clearly defined, relevant, and feasible. Then it should be very clear, concise, and very specific. Okay, and it should be in a statement format. Then these are the sources of research problem. One can understand what their research problem or what they want to investigate through reading. As I already mentioned, one can read. Okay, so I wanted to study something related to prosocial behavior, but I don't know what I want to study. So I should be reading articles on research, article on prosocial behavior. I will be reading experiments on prosocial behavior. So I should read on my area of interest. So after many reading, I will be arriving at a research problem that I want to investigate. Or the research problem can be arrived by academic experience. So here by academic experience, it is that we are studying, we are throughout our degree years and PG years, we are having very academic experience. So in that academic experience, something would have striked us and we just want to investigate that. So we can arrive at research problem at that way also, or by discussions. We will be having discussions with our colleagues or our classmates, our teachers, and then we will be arriving at the research problem. So we can also arrive at research problem through discussions, or it should be through brainstorming. We try to strain our brain and thinking, we will be arriving at a research problem. So these are the major source of research problem. I hope the source of research problem are clear to you, and what exactly a research problem is very clear to you. Then the next step, once you have understood that what you wanted to investigate, and once you have set your research problem, then the next thing you should be doing is the review of literature. So I hope everyone here had done their, completed their PG or are in the process of completing their PG. Okay. So either in your degree years or in your PG years, you have done your dissertation or thesis. So you have done review of literature, I suppose. So what exactly is review of literature? Review of literature is actually a comprehensive summary of the previous research on a topic. So I said that what I wanted to investigate is the engagement of prosocial behavior and personality. What is the relation between these two variables? So what I should be doing in review of literature is I should make a comprehensive summary of the previous research on this topic, the topic of whether there is a relation between prosocial behavior and personality. There will be very much amount of research done on that topic. There will be topics on prosocial behavior. There will be researches on personality. There will be researches on prosocial behavior and personality. There will be lots and lots of research. So as a next step in research, one should read all those articles or those texts, all those textbooks, all those articles, and whatever one can keep their hands on, one should read all those things and arrive at a comprehensive summary regarding that. Okay. So review of literature includes published studies, scholarly articles, books, and all other relevant sources one can use to gain a comprehensive understanding. So I said that one can read someone here, Asia. I hope she had unmuted herself. Everyone make sure that you have muted yourself, okay? You can unmute if you have any queries or any other problems, okay? Otherwise, kindly mute yourself, okay? It will be a disturbance for other participants, that is why. I hope it was by mistake. So, yeah, we were talking about literature review. So, first of all, we will be looking to the existing scholarly articles, books, and other relevant sources. So if I'm trying to study the relationship between prosocial behavior and personality, first of all, I will be reading what prosocial behavior is, theories of prosocial behavior, and other related studies on prosocial behavior. I will be reading what is personality, what are different type of personality, then what are the different classification of personality, etc. And then if there are any articles on both the relationship, the articles which are exploring the relationship between prosocial behavior and personality, I will be reading those articles too. So by reading all those articles, all those books and other relevant sources, I will be gaining a lot of idea about what prosocial behavior is, what personality is, whether there is relation between all those things. Have anyone discovered anything related to this thing? And so I will be getting a comprehensive summary on what I wanted to research. Okay. So I will be identifying patterns, contradiction, and area of consensus. Among that, different studies already happened. I will be getting theoretical perspective on that topic. I will be understanding very much about that topic and whatever research that has been already done on that topic. Okay, I hope literature review is very much understandable to you. It is very simple. You are reading whatever you can get on that particular topic you are researching. So if I am giving you another example. I wanted to study, say, what would be, I wanted to study about advertisement, the impact of advertisement on adolescents. Okay, so I will be reading about advertisement. I will be reading about that adolescents. If I said, I said the impact of advertisement on adolescents, right? So I will be reading on advertisement, the impact of advertisement in general, the impact, the characteristics of adolescents, how they react to different media, how this to advertisement and adolescents are already related. And so I will be reading whatever I can get hands on that particular topic. So where will I get all those articles? I said you will be reading articles and you will be reading books, etc. So where will I get the scholarly articles? There are many platforms that we can access to get the scholarly articles. It is actually questions that had came in the previous questions. Where will one get the scholarly articles from? So one can get scholarly articles from Google Scholar. Then there are pages like Sci-Hub. Then there are pages like Elsevier. So there are many journals and their publications which are freely accessible. Then there are journals and their sites which are paid. So you can go to all those journals, all those websites, and either you can access it by paying money or you can access the open source one and you can read all those things. Okay, so that is about it. So after reviewing the literature, you will be critically analyzing whatever data you have got. Okay, so you understand that there are these studies on this. So you will be identifying the patterns and you will be identifying the contradictions, whether there are any contradictions. So there will be a different studies done by different people. So you will be you will be comparing each study done by each of the people. So if some study says A and then some study says B, you are and these are whether these are contradictory or not, whether these two findings have any relationship between them, so whether there are any area of consensus among these studies. So you will be getting many information and you will be analyzing them critically. In that review of literature, stage itself, you are critically analyzing whatever literature you have got hands on. Okay, so that is about literature review. Then what are the purpose the literature review plays in research? Actually, it plays a lot of role in the entire research process. As I said, it is a second step in research. Okay, after one has understand what their research is, what they want to research, they just go to read the existing studies on that particular topic. So they will be getting a contextualization of their research problem. What exactly this particular topic is, what is the context of that topic, that background information is given by this literature review. That is first purpose of literature review. Then it is second is identification of gaps. So you can analyze the existing literature and you can identify whatever gaps this particular research has. Okay, whatever is there that has not been researched yet, and you will you can focus your research on that particular topic. Okay, so I said that I wanted to research the engagement of prosocial behavior and personality. So when I look into that literatures already existed or already existing literature, I understand that there are many gaps. One has already investigated the prosocial behavior and the relationship between extrovert personality, but one has not investigated the relationship between engagement of prosocial behavior and introvert personality. So there is a gap. Okay, introvert personality and the relationship between prosocial behavior has not been investigated. So I should be focusing my study on that. So I have understood that gap by analyzing the existing literature. I hope that you get that point. Okay, so identification of research gap is a purpose of literature review. The next purpose of literature review is theory formulation. So literature review can contribute to the theoretical framework. Okay, you read the whatever literature already existing, and you can understand that the theoretical framework regarding that particular topic, whatever theory is already existing in that particular topic, and what all aspect of that particular variable has been investigated. You can understand that by reviewing the literature. Next is methodological insight. So you are engaging in an research, you are about to engage in a research, and you have read the literature. So you can understand that whatever methodologies have already been used, if whether one has investigated using quantitative methods or qualitative methods, whatever methodologies has been used, what is most apt for this research, all these kinds of information can be arrived by using the reviewing of literature. Okay. So next is, sorry, next purpose is validation of finding. Okay, so it is actually the last step in research, which is the analysis of data, and we have arrived at some conclusions or some findings. So using the literature, existing literature, we can validate our findings. Okay, we can say that already this person has already found that there is a relation between prosocial behavior and this personality. I have also find that there is a relation between prosocial behavior and this personality. So there is a consensus among my research and this person's research. I can validate my findings by using the existing or previous research. Okay, I can also contradict my research by using existing research. So validation of finding is also a purpose of literature review. I hope the purpose of literature review is very clear to you. First purpose is contextualization, to understand the background of that particular variable or particular topic. Then next is identification of research gap, to understand what research gap is existing, what has not been investigated yet. You can understand that by reviewing the literature. Next is theory formulation. You can understand the theoretical framework surrounding that particular literature or particular topic. Then the next one is methodological insight. You can understand whatever methodologies has been used, which methodology has been used, and which methodology has not been used in the previous researches. So it will be an aid to your next research. Then another one is validation of findings. So after arriving at your analysis and findings, you can either contradict or consensus your finding with the help of the previous research. Okay, so that are the purposes of literature review. So first step is formulation of research problem. Second step is review of literature. Third step is formulation of hypothesis. Actually, the step formulation of hypothesis is not very much relevant in the case of qualitative research. It is much more relevant in the case of quantitative research. Okay, so hypothesis is not used in qualitative research. It is used in quantitative research. So keep that in your mind. It will be discussed in the further slides. So what is hypothesis? Hypothesis is a tentative statement or proposition. Okay, it is a statement which is tentative in nature. Okay, so what exactly the statement contains? The statement contains a possible explanation for a phenomena or relationship between variables. It is a testable prediction that guides the research. So it can be tested. Two things about hypothesis. Hypothesis is that it is tentative in nature. It is testable. Okay. Only in quantitative research, we are testing a hypothesis. Okay. In qualitative research, we are not testing a hypothesis. We are exploring whatever the phenomena is. Here, the hypothesis is a tentative statement which is trying to explore or trying to give a possible explanation for the phenomena. So, there will be one or more hypotheses. You know, we will not be limited to one hypothesis. There will be one or more hypotheses. It will be according to the nature of your study. So the hypothesis will be the questions which you want to address regarding the possible relation between the variables, which I have already said. Then these hypotheses are typically formulated on the basis of existing theories, empirical evidence, and observation. So this formulation of hypothesis is actually based on the literature review. So formulation of hypothesis is also a purpose of literature review. Okay. So hypothesis, as I said, it is a tentative statement. It is testable in nature. It is only found in quantitative research. Okay, you are testing the hypothesis. The major purpose of a quantitative research is testing of hypothesis. You are testing the hypothesis, and you are at the conclusion you are saying whether that hypothesis is true or not. So usually the hypothesis will be like there is a relationship between this and this. There is no relationship between this and this. That is how usually the hypothesis generally like. So if I am trying to study the relationship between prosocial behavior and personality, my hypothesis will be like there is no significant relationship between prosocial behavior and personality. Or it will be like there is a significant relationship between prosocial behavior and personality. So that is how usually we will structure our hypothesis. Okay, then the testing is done usually with the help of many statistical tools and all. Then there are different type of hypothesis. The first type of hypothesis is based on the number of variables. So if we are trying to study the relationship between one independent variable and one dependent variable, there is a simple hypothesis. So simple hypothesis is very simple. It is trying to study the relation between a single independent variable and a single dependent variable. So as I said earlier, it will be like there is no significant relation between prosocial behavior and personality. So there is one independent variable which is personality, and then another dependent variable which is prosocial behavior. One independent variable and one dependent variable. So it is a simple hypothesis. And complex hypothesis is a hypothesis between the hypothesis in which there are two or more independent variables and two or more dependent variables. To give you an example, I'll be like saying that there is a relationship between prosocial behavior and personality. There is a relation between prosocial behavior and introvert personality. Those introvert personality who are outgoing. Okay, extrovert personality who are outgoing. So there are there are a variable extrovert personality and outgoing. So there are two independent variable. Then there is prosocial behavior. So it is a complex type of hypothesis. Another example I can give you that is a high school students who participate in extracurricular activities have higher GPA than those who do not participate in sorry, one second. Sorry, that was a mistake on my side. That is another example. Let me give you another one. Yeah. So we will be in the case of simple hypothesis, will be if we are investigating, suppose we are investigating predictors of cancer. Okay, we are investigating which are the predictors of cancer. So if we are stating our hypothesis as there is a relationship between smoking and cancer. Okay, smoking and cancer, there is a relation between smoking and cancer. So there is one independent variable and one dependent variable. So it is a simple hypothesis. But if we are structuring our hypothesis as smoking and other drugs can lead to cancer, then there are two independent variables, smoking and drugs. There are two independent variables and one dependent variable, that is cancer. So it is a complex hypothesis. Then another classification of hypothesis is based on the directional relationship between variables. One is directional hypothesis, the another one is non-directional hypothesis. In the case of directional hypothesis, one is predicting a specific direction. Okay, there is a specific direction in terms of the relationship between the variables. So the hypothesis will be like the relationship with the one variable will be having a positive effect on another, or one variable will be having a negative effect on another. If we are specifying a direction, then it is a directional hypothesis. On the other hand, if we are not specifying any direction, then it is a non-directional hypothesis. We are just simply stating that there is a relation between variables without stating that the direction, then it is a non-directional hypothesis. So I said earlier that there is a relationship between smoking and cancer. So we are not specifying a direction. We are just stating there is a relation between cancer and smoking. So it is a non-directional hypothesis. So if we are saying there is a positive relationship between smoking and cancer, then we are stating a directional hypothesis. We are saying that there is a positive relationship. We are specifying the relationship, specifying the direction of the relationship. So it is a directional hypothesis. So another example I can give you is that I am stating that the amount of sleep and there is a relation between the amount of sleep and academic performance. So the hypothesis is non-directional in nature because I'm not stating a specific direction. Okay, but in another case, if I'm stating there is a positive relationship between academic performance and the amount of sleep, then I'm stating a directional hypothesis. I'm stating that there is a positive relation. I'm stating a direction. Okay, so that is directional hypothesis. Then there is statistical hypothesis. So in statistical hypothesis, we are making an assumption regarding the population parameters. Okay, population parameters means regarding the characteristics of the population. We are making an assumption regarding the characteristics of a population. Population means the people we are trying to study. That is what population is, which we will be discussing in the next slides. So in statistical hypothesis, we are making assumption regarding the population parameters. These hypothesis can be either true or false. Okay, so there are mainly two types of statistical hypotheses which are very common in quantitative research, and those are null hypothesis and alternate hypothesis. So in null hypothesis, we are simply stating that there is no relationship between two variables. That is how null hypothesis is. Null. What does null means? Null means zero. So in null hypothesis, we are stating that there is no relationship or there is zero relationship between two variables. Okay. Null hypothesis state that there is no difference between sample statistics and population parameters. Okay, you have to understand that in null hypothesis, what we are stating is that there is no relationship between the sample statistic and population parameters. Okay, the population parameter and sample statistic has no difference. Okay, it is usually denoted as H0. Okay, H0 or H0. An example will be like if I'm studying smoking and smoking and cancer, the null hypothesis will be like there is no significant relationship between smoking and cancer. So I'm saying there is no significant relationship between, there is null relationship. That is how the null hypothesis will be going. Then there is alternate hypothesis. Alternate hypothesis is usually signified as H1. Okay, and it states that there is a relationship between these two variables. Whichever variables we are studying, there is a relationship between these two, and it contradicts the null hypothesis. Whatever the null hypothesis is, the alternate hypothesis is always the contradiction of that. So as I said earlier, if I'm studying the relationship between smoking and cancer, the null hypothesis will be like there is no significant relation between smoking and cancer. Then the alternate hypothesis will be there is a significant relation between smoking and cancer. That is how it is usually framed. Okay, so if I'm studying prosocial behavior and personality, the null hypothesis will be there is no significant relation between prosocial behavior and personality. And the alternate hypothesis will be there is a significant relation between prosocial behavior and personality. Okay, I hope the concepts are clear. So that is about hypothesis. Next is the stage of preparation of research design. Okay, so preparation of research design, we want to understand what exactly research design is. When we are making a home, you will be having a plan, right? You will be having a blueprint of how the house will look like in the future. Okay, you will be having a picture, right? You will be having a plan. So in the case of research design, act like the blueprint. Okay, act like the blueprint of the research. So it will be having what all method we will be using in the research, when will we conduct the research, how will we conducting the research, how will you collect data, how will you analyze data. All those things will be included in the research design. That is what the research design is. It is the blueprint for conducting the research. So it will be having what are we going to research, where are we going to research, when we will be conducting the research, how much time will it will be requiring, by what means we will be doing the research. All those questions will be answered in the research design. Okay, so we cannot select whatever research design we want. Okay, we will be selecting the research design purely based on our research problem. You will select the research design whichever the research problem demands. So if I'm trying to study the relationship between cancer and smoking, I can either I cannot do an experiment. Okay, I cannot give people, I cannot give them, cigarettes, and I will tell them to smoke, and then I will check them whether they will be having cancer in future. That is not possible. So what will I be doing? I will go to people who do smoking. Okay, I will go to people who do smoking, and I will check them whether they will be having cancer, or I will follow them whether they will be having cancer in the future. Or I can go to people who already have cancer and check that whether they had smoking habits or not. Okay, so that is what I can do. So I can do ex post facto research. I cannot do experimental research. So what I have decided that I will be going by ex post facto research, or I can go through surveys or things like that. So how I decided on my research design is purely based on my research problem. I cannot decide whichever research problem I like. Okay, so the research problem give a guideline for the data collection and analysis. So if I go by if I select, suppose my research problem demands an experimental design, then I can only go by probability sampling method. I cannot go by non-probability sampling method. So the research design had given me a guideline for data collection. That guideline was purely based on the research design. So if I have chosen exploratory research design, then I can conduct non-probability sampling or probability sampling. I can do both. Okay, that is based on the research design. So the research design provides me a guideline for data collection and data analysis. So if I have chosen a experimental design, I will be doing quantitative data analysis. I'll be doing statistics for the analysis part. Okay, if I have chosen a qualitative research design, I will be doing non-statistical analysis. I will be doing narrative analysis. I will be doing thematic analysis. So all these things were purely based on the research design I am choosing. And the research design is based on the research problem we are investigating. Okay. Then the different type of research design. The first type of research design is exploratory research design. Then the next one is descriptive research design. Third one is experimental research design. And fourth one is exploratory research design. These are the basic four type of research design. Okay. Then the next step is determining the sample design. Okay. So we have first formulated what we want to investigate. What is our research problem is. Then we have read whatever research which has already been done on research, which is the review of literature. Then we have formulated the hypothesis we want to test. After that, we have decided on the research design. Okay. So once we have finalized our research design, the next step will be determining sample design. Okay. First, we want to understand what population is. So population refers to entire group of individuals, objects, or events the researcher wants to study and make inferences about. So let me say I want to investigate the academic performance of I want to investigate the relationship between academic performance and amount of sleep of students. Okay, I want to study relation between academic performance and amount of sleep of students. So students is my population. Yes, I want to study in I want to conduct my study among students. So students is my population. So students in the entire world is my population, because I have not specified any particular country, particular state, I have not mentioned anything. So here my population is entire students in the world. Okay, so is that possible to study this every student in the world? That is not possible. So what will we be doing? We will be selecting units. Okay, we will be selecting some students from whole students, right? So there will be like crores of students, and we will be selecting a small amount of students which we want to investigate. So how will that small amount of students, that small amount of students which we select from the population for the purpose of our study, that small amount of students is known as sample. That small amount of units of individuals is known as sample. Okay, the all individuals or all students is the population, and then we will be selecting small amounts, that is known as sample. Then another example, let me give you. If I want to study the achievement motivation of orphans in India, I want to study the achievement motivation of orphans in India, then at that point of time, my population will be orphans in India. Okay, so I cannot go to each orphan in India and study achievement motivation of them. So I will be taking a small number of orphans. Okay, I will be taking a small number of orphans and study their achievement motivation, and then generalize to all orphans in India. So the amount of students, or the orphans I study will be my sample. Okay, so how will I take the sample? Okay, I can take the sample. I can select the orphans which I want to study, or I can select the individuals I want to study by using different methods. That methods are called sampling techniques. Okay, so we had said what population is, then we had said what sample is. So the process of selecting those sample is known as sampling process, and the methods or techniques one used to select those sample are known as sampling techniques. Okay, so proper identification of sample is very important to in the study. So if we are trying to study orphans in India, and if we have not correctly identified the orphans in India, then the entire research will be at fault, right? Instead of orphans, if we go for non-orphans by mistake, then the entire study is at fault. So proper identification of population and proper identification of sample is very important. And it determines the entire process of research. Okay, so I have said how how we select the sample from the population. That process is known as sampling, and the techniques or procedures we use is known as sampling design. Okay, or sampling techniques. So there are different type of sampling techniques which are available. So these sampling techniques or sampling design is broadly classified into probability sampling and non-probability sampling. So first we will be looking into probability sampling, and next we will be looking into non-probability sampling. So as I said, sampling design is the techniques or procedures we generally use to select a sample. There are two types of sampling techniques or sampling design, which are probability sampling and non-probability sampling. So in probability sampling, each member of the population has an equal opportunity to be included in the sample. So there is a equal chance. If each member of the population has an equal chance, then it is a probability sampling techniques. It is usually used in quantitative research. You have to note that probability sampling is usually used in quantitative research. Then there is non-probability sampling. Here, it is an opposite of probability sampling. Not all individuals have equal chance of being selected. one individual will be having more chance of being selected, while another individual will be having less chance of being selected. In non-probability sampling, it is usually used in qualitative research. So in probability sampling, the sample will be a clear representative of the population, while in non-probability sampling, the the sample will not be a clear representation of the population. You have to understand that point. Okay. As I said in the last session, generalization is a characteristic of quantitative research. Generalization is possible in quantitative research because in quantitative research, the sample is a representative of population. So one can generalize the findings. While in qualitative research, the sample is not a representative of the population. So we cannot generalize the findings. Okay, I hope you get that point. It is very important. I hope the concept of probability sampling and non-probability sampling is clear to you. Probability sampling, there is an equal chance of being selected. Non-probability sampling, you have not equal chance of being selected. One may be having higher chances, while another may be having less chances. Okay. Sorry. So next we'll be looking to the different probability sampling techniques. So there are mainly 4 types of probability sampling methods. One is simple random sampling. Second one is systematic random sampling. Third one is stratified random sampling. And last one is cluster sampling. Okay. You have to clearly understand these 4 types of probability sampling. Usually we have questions like pick the odd one out, such questions. So you will be given a mix of probability sampling and non-probability sampling, and you have to select among these which are not probability sample, not among probability sampling. Or there will be questions like among these which are not non-probability sampling. So you can only choose which is probability sample or which is non-probability sampling techniques when you have an understanding of which comes under which heading. Okay. So simple random sampling, systematic random sampling, stratified random sampling, and cluster sampling. These 4 comes under the heading of probability sampling. So simple random sampling, here each member of the population has an equal chance of being selected for the sample, and this is achieved through a random selection. So it is a basic type of probability random sampling. Here each individual has an equal chance of being selected, which is a core characteristic of probability sampling, and it is achieved through random selection. So let me give you an example. So I'm trying to study, as I said, the relation between achievement motivation and orphans in India. Is there any relation between achievement motivation and being orphaned? I want to study that. So if I'm going by simple random sampling, I'm selecting samples from the population, which is a population. Population is orphans in India, and I want to select samples, some people from them to study. So if I'm going by simple random sampling, I will collect the names of all orphans in India. Okay. And I can make chits of them, and I will be randomly selecting chits from them. So, and whichever chits I get, those will be the sample for my research. So here, all the chits have equal probability of getting selected. Okay. All the members have equal probability of getting selected. So I think you have seen, lottery. Yeah, lottery method is exactly like this. Here, whoever takes the lottery have equal chance of being the winner, right? So how will we decide the winner in lottery tickets? We will be getting the data of whoever have taken the lottery ticket, and we will be given it to a system. There are softwares for that, and randomly the software will randomly give us the winner. So each person who have taken the lottery ticket has equal probability of getting the cash prize or whatever the prize is. That is how simple random sampling works. it is only possible when we have the data of whole population. So if we are trying to study orphans in India and their achievement motivation, you cannot never use simple random sampling, because we can never get we can never get the names of whole orphans in India. So that is not possible. Okay, if we are trying, suppose if I want to study the achievement motivation and being orphan in my particular state, or my particular district, or my particular village, then I can go for simple random sampling. So if I am studying the achievement motivation and among the orphans of my village, I can get everyone's data, right? So I can select the samples from it through simple random sampling. That is possible. So here feasibility is important thing to note. Okay, so that is how simple random sampling works. Next is systematic random sampling. So simple random sampling and systematic random sampling is actually likewise. Here in systematic random sampling, every nth member from the population gets selected as a sample. So suppose I want to study the achievement motivation and achievement motivation among the orphans of my particular district. I will collect the names of orphans in my district, and I will give numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I will be giving numbers to every person. Okay, then I will select every nth member. So I will be selecting, I suppose I want 150 members. I will be selecting fifth member, then next 10th, then there will be 50th member, then 25th member, 35th member. So every 10th member I will be selecting. Okay, that is every nth person I will be selecting through systematic random sampling. So it is likewise a simple random sampling, but here there is a system of every nth case. Let me give you another example. If I want to study whether there is a relationship between smoking and cancer, among smoking and cancer, I will get the data in India. Okay, smoking and cancer among the cancer patient in India, I will be collecting the names of every cancer patients in India, and I will be assigning numbers to all these cancer patients. I'll be assigning 1, 2, 3, 4, likewise numbers to every cancer patients, and I will be, if I suppose I will be selecting every 20th member. I'm deciding that I will be selecting every 20th member. So the every 20th member will be selected at random. First, I will be selecting the 7th member. Okay, the first number is selected at random. That is a very important. This nth number is selected at random. Okay, so first among the first 20, I will be selecting. Suppose at random, I will be starting at 7th. Okay, the next 20th member will be 27th person. The next 20th member will be 47th person. Next 20th member will be the 60th person. Next 20th member will be the 87th person. Next will be 107th person. Likewise, I will be collecting the sample. So that is how systematic random sampling works. Then another type of probability sampling is stratified random sampling. So in stratified random sampling, the population is divided into strata. Okay, the population is divided into a group. That group is called strata. So each strata will be having same characteristics. Okay, so there is a huge population. So based on age, I will be creating stratas based on age. So there are orphans. I'm studying the achievement motivation and being orphan. I will be selecting the data regarding the orphans, and I will be creating stratas based on their age. So there is an age group of 5 to 10. I will be creating a strata 5 to 10, age of 5 to 10. That is one strata. Age 10 to 50. Next strata 50 to 20. Next strata 20 to 25. Next strata. Okay. So in each strata, the individual members are having common characteristics. Okay. All each strata has common characteristics. That common characteristics is their age. Okay, so I will be picking people from each strata. Okay, so I will be picking one person from first strata, one person from second strata, one person from third strata, one person from fourth strata, one person from fifth strata. Likewise, I will be selecting samples. So that is how stratified random sampling works. One point you have to note here is the strata or the divided subgroup are having common characteristics. All members in the particular strata are having common characteristics. Okay, one strata is different from another strata. The all individuals in one strata are having common characteristics. One person from another strata are having common characteristics. Okay, so people from each strata are picked by randomly. So every individual in each strata are having equal chance of being selected. So that is, there is a probability of being selected, equal probability of being selected. Next, there is cluster sampling, which is the last type of probability sampling. In cluster sampling, the population is divided into subgroup called cluster. So here, cluster is actually a common or similar characteristics of the whole sample. It will be having, not whole sample, whole population. Okay, so the cluster has a common characteristics as the population. In strata, all the individuals will be having common characteristics, right? But in cluster, each member of a cluster will be having different characteristics. The one cluster is a mini population. Okay, mini version of the population. One cluster is the mini version of the whole population. That is how cluster works. So we'll be taking one cluster and studying. Okay, we'll be taking one cluster or two clusters for the purpose of our study. So if I'm studying the relationship between cancer and smoking, I am making a cluster. The cluster will be the mini version of the population. So the cluster will be having people from different ages, people from different backgrounds and everything. Okay, so the cluster will be a mini version of the population, and I will be taking one cluster and studying that particular cluster. Okay, in strata, I'm taking members from each strata, but in cluster, I'm taking an entire cluster and studying, because that cluster itself is a mini version of the population. Okay, so that is about simple random probability sampling. So you can see here, it is a picturized version of simple random sampling. Here we are selecting, this is the entire population, and I'm simply selecting 5 members. Okay, here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, here there is the entire population, and I'm randomly picking 5 members. Okay, without any consideration, I'm just randomly selecting. Okay, you, and I'm just selecting 5 participants. In systematic random sampling, here I have given numbers to each person. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I just given numbers, and I'm selecting every third member. So I first selected this person, which is I selected by random. The first person is always selected at random. So I just selected this person. Then every third member I'm selecting 1, 2, 3. So here this third person I'm selected. Then 1, 2, 3. This third person I have selected. 1, 2, 3. This third person I have selected. 1, 2, 3. This third person I have selected. Okay, so likewise, every third person or every nth person I have selected. So if you are going by stratified random sampling, you have made stratas. Okay, so all these blue ones who have similar characteristics, I have made one strata. All these green ones who have similar characteristics, I have made another strata. Likewise, I have made 4 stratas. Then I am picking individuals from each strata. So here I picked one person from this strata. Then this strata I have picked one person. From this person, this strata I have one person, and this strata I have picked persons. Okay, so that is how stratified random sampling works. Then there is cluster sampling. So I have made clusters. Okay, I have made clusters, and the cluster is a mini version of the population. So I have, then I will take one entire cluster for the purpose of my study. So this cluster I have taken for the purpose of my study. Okay. Then there is non-probability sampling techniques. In non-probability sampling techniques, it is purely by means of non-probability. Okay, there is no equal chance of being selected. As I said earlier, one will be having more chances or another will be having. Hello, Jawahar. Okay. First one is first one in non-probability sampling is the convenience sampling. So in convenience sampling, which is also known as chunk sample or accidental sampling, you have to note the another names of each sample. It comes in questions. Okay. So convenience sampling is also known as chunk sample or accidental sample. It includes selecting individuals or selecting selecting persons from the population at whichever is convenience for me. So if I'm trying to study the relationship between smoking and cancer, if I'm going by convenience sampling, I will select participants who have cancer, who are near to me. So I'm from Kerala and I'm trying to study the relationship between cancer and smoking. So the very convenient sample to me will be Malayali cancer patients. So I will be going to a cancer institute, which is very convenient for me, and I will go there. I will select the participant. So I have selected that particular sample because it is convenient for me. It is accessible for me. Okay. So that is how convenient sampling works. I simply selected that particular members or particular sample because it is convenient for me. Okay. It is accessible for me. It is readily available for me. Then there is purposive sampling. Purposive sampling is also known as judgmental sampling. Okay. So in judgmental sampling, I am selecting people who is most useful or who is most suitable for the purpose of my study. Okay. So I'm selecting that particular participant with a predetermined base of selection. So if I say I'm trying to study smoking and cancer, the relationship between smoking and cancer, I will be going to and I will be selecting persons who already smokes. Okay, so I have a purpose. I will be selecting person who already smokes because it kind of aligns with my predefined rules. So I will selecting that particular person. Or I'm trying to study whether there is a relationship between achievement motivation and being an orphan. So I will be selecting persons who have high achievement motivation. The orphans who have high achievement motivation. So I am judgmentally selecting. I have judged that persons to be having higher achievement motivation, then I am selecting them. So there is a predetermined base of selection. I'm trying to be judgmental. I'm trying to establish the purpose of my study. Okay. So likewise, I'm selecting, then it is a purposive sampling. Then there is quota sampling. The quota sampling is actually a qualitative version of stratified sampling. Okay. So there is stratified sampling in probability sampling. So in stratified sampling, the entire population is divided into subgroups, and the subgroups will be having common characteristics, and then we will be selecting people from each strata. But in quota sampling, the population is divided into subgroups based on based on certain characteristics, suppose age or economic level, whatever characteristics we will be we are selecting, we will be classifying the population into different quotas. Okay, then we will be selecting quotas for our research, but the selection is not on random. Okay, we are not selecting the quota on random, we are selecting them as per our wish. That is the difference between stratified and quota. In stratified, we are selecting participants from each strata as randomly, but in quota sampling, we are selecting participants from quota with as per our wish or according to non-probable means. Okay. Then there is snowball sampling, which is very important. Many questions have been asked from the snowball sampling. Here in snowball sampling, we are initially approaching people who comes under our population. Then we are asking them and with the help of them, we are recommending potential participants. So let me give you an example. So if I want to study the relationship between smoking and cancer, I will be approaching one person who I know have cancer. So I will be approaching 1 or 2 persons who have cancer. Then I will collect data from them. Then I will ask them, okay, do you know anyone who have cancer? Okay, then they will recommend me. Okay, this person from this place has cancer. You can contact them. So I will go to them and I will collect data from them, that person. Then I will ask that person, okay, can you tell me some person who have cancer? Then that person will recommend me a person C, then I will go to that person C. Okay, so it is like a chain. Okay, first there is the person A, then the person A will recommend me the person B, then the B person will be recommend me the person C, then the person C will recommend me the person D. Okay, so likewise there's a chain. Okay, so it is also known as chain sampling. So in snowball sampling, it is a snowball effect. Okay, one recommends the other person recommends other. Likewise, it is going on. It is usually used when we don't know the population. We don't have direct access to the population. It is usually done when we are studying this deceased persons, etc. It is usually used. So if you are studying, cancer patients, or if we are studying any mentally issue people having any mental challenges. So at that point of time, we will be using snowball sampling. So this is a diagram showing non-probability sampling. So here, this is the researcher. So the most convenient or readily accessible person to the researcher are these people surrounding him. So in convenient sampling, the researcher will be conveniently selecting those who are near to him or those who are readily available to him. Okay. Then there is purposive sampling. The researcher here select the persons who agrees to the purpose of the research. So the researcher understand that this person, all this person are having the characteristics he want to research. So he will be purposively, he will be judgmentally selecting these participants. Okay. Then there is snowball sampling. In snowball sampling, I have 2 participants. The researcher are having 2 participants. Then this participant will recommend me these 3 participants. So I will collect data from them. And this participant will recommend me these 3 participants. So I will collect data from them. Then I can again collect data from persons the next person recommends. So that is how snowball sampling moves. Okay. Then there is quota sampling. In quota sampling, there is a quota, which is a subgroup of the entire population. And in each quota, the members are having similar characteristics. Then I am selecting persons which I like from whichever quota. Okay, there is no random sampling. So see here in this first quota and second quota, I'm selecting participants. But from third quota and fourth quota, I'm not selecting participants. So it is not randomly selected. Okay. Then after, so we have decided on the sample design. We are decided on how to select the sample, and we have decided whoever our participants will be. So once the participants are decided, then we will be once the participants are selected, then we will be collecting data from them. Okay. So what is data? Data is the information we are collecting from various sources for the purpose of our research. Whatever information we are collecting for the purpose of research, it comes under the category of data. So data collection, it is a systematic process of gathering this information. Okay, it is a systematic process by which we gather this information. Though the data, okay, we said that according to the research problem, we will be coming to the research design. So according to the research design, we will be collecting data. So if we are following an experimental research design, we will be collecting data through the method of experiment. Suppose we are following an an exploratory research design, then we will be collecting data by means of interview or by means of observation. Okay, so if we are following some another research design, we will be collecting data according to the requirements of that particular research design. So what I'm saying is the research design determines the data collection method. Okay, so it involves systematically collecting data from various sources using selected data collection methods and selected instruments. So which are the two type of data? It is very important. There are two type of data: primary data and secondary data. Primary data are the data which are original in nature. We are collecting it first hand by ourselves for specifically meeting our research purpose. Okay, so that data is directly obtained by us and it is not previously gathered or analyzed by any other person. So here I'm trying to study the relationship between smoking and cancer. If I'm first-handly collecting data from cancer patients, then I'm getting the primary data there. On the other hand, secondary data refers to the data that has already been collected and analyzed by someone other, okay, for various purpose. So if I'm trying to study, history of a particular country or particular state, whatever it is, so I will be going to do archives. I will be going to archives, or I will be meeting agencies, government agencies, and etc., and I will be collecting data from them. I will be collecting data from documents. I will be collecting data from newspapers, things like that. So at that point of time, I'm collecting data through secondary data. I'm collecting secondary data because that data has already been collected and analyzed by someone else. Okay, so the at times, for the purpose of our research, secondary data will be enough. Primary data won't be needed. So at that point of time, we will be collecting secondary data, but some point of time, primary data is needed. If that is required, we will be collecting primary data. Okay, so primary data is first-hand data, while secondary data is second-hand data, okay, which has already been collected and analyzed by someone else. So it can be, secondary data can be either published or unpublished. Okay, no need to be, it is not necessary that it is published. Okay, unpublished data can also be secondary data. If it is collected by someone else than you, it is secondary data. Okay, no questions on that. So then next is data collection methods. I have said that there are different type of data collection method, which is as per the research design we will be you'll be finalizing. So which are the different type of data collection method? There are tests, okay, then there are surveys, interviews, experiments, observation, questionnaires, and focus group discussion. So in test, okay, there are tests. There will be, if I'm trying to as I said, I'm trying to study achievement, motivation, and being an orphan. If there are any relation between achievement, motivation, and being orphan. So at that point of time, I will be giving test. Okay, I will be giving achievement, motivation test. I can only collect data by measuring achievement, motivation of that orphans. So I cannot ask, I can understand their achievement, motivation by means of test. I can give them motivation test. Okay, so the test can be, verbal form. Okay, there are verbal tests, non-verbal tests, performance tests, different type of tests are out there. So I will be selecting whichever test I think is apt for the study, and I will be conducting the test among my sample. Okay, what I want to say is the test can be verbal, non-verbal, or performance. The test should be reliable, valid, standardized, objective. There are many characteristics of research. So whichever test I'm selecting, I should be ensuring that the test is valid, reliable, objective, standardized, it has norms, etc. Okay. Then there are surveys. There are different type of surveys. In surveys, there will be questions which are one worded, or questions which are descriptive in nature, which are objective in nature. Whatever it is, surveys and another data collection method which are commonly used. Then there is interviews. Interviews, one person asks questions. The person who asks question is the interviewer, and the person who answers the interviewee. Okay, then in interview, there are mainly three type of interviews. One is structured interview, which is commonly used in quantitative research. Then there is unstructured interview, which is commonly used in qualitative interview. Then there is semi-structured interviews, which is mostly used in qualitative research only. So in structured interviews, the questions are close-ended questions. Okay, and we can expect whichever answer the person will be giving. That is how close-ended questions work. So in structured interviews, the questions will be close-ended, while in semi-structured interviews, the questions will be open-ended. Okay. Then there is unstructured interviews, which are completely going according to whatever the respondent says. So we are not having any questions. Whatever the respondent saying, we are going according to the flow of the respondent's response. That is how unstructured interviews works. It does not have any structure at all. So as I said, there are three type of interviews: unstructured, structured, and semi-structured. Unstructured, semi-structured is used in qualitative. Quantitative interviews are structured interviews. Okay. Then there are experiments. Experiments are purely used in quantitative research. We have said there are quasi-experiment and true experiments. True experiment and quasi-experiment, we are trying to understand the cause-effect relationship. What effect an independent variable is causing on a dependent variable. It is usually understood, or it is usually done in experiments. Okay. Then there is observation. In observation, we are trying to observe the participants. Okay, we will be recording whatever we observed in our schedule. Okay, there will be a schedule, or there will be a note when we will be writing down whatever we have observed. Observation is usually used in ethnographic research. It is also used as a additional data collection method, okay, or first-hand data collection method. So observation, there is two type of observation. There is participant observation, and there is non-participant observation. So in participant observation, the researcher is engaging in the process of observation. He is being the part of that part of whatever he is studying, and then observing. So if one is trying to observe the cultural practices of a particular group or particular community, if that particular researcher is being a part of that cultural practice and then observing, then he is doing a participant observation. At the same time, he is not participating in that cultural practice. He is standing aside and watching that cultural practice, then he is doing a non-participant observation. Suppose you are trying to study Thrissur Puram, okay, which is a very big festival in India, in Kerala, or Kumbakonam, okay, which is another very famous festival in India. So if you are engaging in the Kumbakonam and trying to understand or trying to observe the Kumbakonam, you are doing a participant observation. On the other hand, you are not participating. You are seeing it apart and you are standing apart and observing that Kumbakonam, then you are doing a non-participant observation. Okay. Then there are questionnaires. Questionnaires are usually used in surveys only, or otherwise we are in questionnaires. There are open-ended, as I already said, there are open-ended questions. There will be closed-ended questions. Okay. In closed-ended questions, we will be having yes or no, or options, yes or no options, or yes, no, maybe. 3 options or 5 options, 7 options, according to our questions, according to the need of the research, the questions will be structured. There will be close-ended in quantitative research. At the same time, there are open-ended in qualitative research. So the open-ended questions will be providing rich data. At the same time, close-ended questions will be providing data which are very narrow in, okay, narrow in approach. Then there are focus group discussion. Focus group discussion is another data collection method which is usually used in qualitative research. Here, if I'm trying to study, suppose if I'm trying to study how cancer survivors survive their chemotherapy, you know, cancer patients are usually given the treatment of chemotherapy. So I want to understand whatever they went through while they are going through their chemo sessions. So I will be having a focus group discussion. I will be selecting patients, cancer patients who have undergone chemotherapy sessions, and I will be having a closed discussion with them. We'll be having 5 or 10 participants. We will be sitting together and we'll be talking. Okay, so in focus group discussion, the group will be small in size. It will be like 5 to 10 participants, or maximum 12-15 participants. The focus will be very specific. Okay, here this focus, if I'm doing this chemotherapy session and its impact and how the experiences were, the focus is very, you know, specific. I want to understand that particular thing, and the discussion will be specific to that particular focus only, and each and everyone can participate in the discussion. It has its own set of rules. Okay, so the data provided will be very rich in nature. So that is how focus group discussion usually goes, and is simply a discussion which is very focused in nature. Okay, limited number of participants will be there. So that is about data collection method. Then there is analysis and interpretation of data. Okay, so we have collected data. Now what we want to do is analyze the data. Okay, so if we are doing a quantitative research, the analysis and interpretation will be different. While we are doing qualitative research, the process will be different. Okay, so why are we engaging in analysis? Analysis is important to examine and interpret the collected data so that we can arrive at meaningful conclusions and insight. Okay, as I already said, the data analysis depending upon the nature of that data and the research design. So if the data is quantitative nature, that is, it is numerical in nature, statistical techniques are usually used, which are descriptive statistics, inferential statistics. All those statistical techniques are used for data analysis. Okay, if the data is qualitative in nature, that is, it is non-numerical in nature, then qualitative methods like thematic analysis, narrative analysis, etc. are used. Okay, so while analyzing or interpreting, we will look into the review of literature. We'll be looking into the existing literature. We will be interpreting the data on the basis of the existing research or literature in that field. Okay, we will be analyzing whether our findings align with the previous studies or do not align with the previous studies. Then in qualitative research, coming to qualitative research, it often involves identification of themes, concept, and meanings embedded in that particular data. There is a rich data out there, and we are trying to understand or interpret that particular data by identifying themes, concept, and meanings. Okay, if we are doing a quantitative research, we are doing testing of hypothesis. We have data, then we will be using statistical techniques on that data, and we'll be analyzing that particular answer from the statistical technique. Okay, so after doing that statistical technique and analyzing the data, we in quantitative research we will generalize the findings. Okay, so generalization is the process of extending the findings from a particular sample to a larger population. Okay, so if I studied if I studied achievement, motivation, and orphans among orphans in a small sample, if I'm doing quantitative research, I will say that whole orphans are having achievement motivation like this, or there is a relationship between achievement motivation among orphans like this. Okay, so I am I have studied a particular sample, then I have generalized it into the whole population. Okay, so usually that is how we do research. Okay, so if we say that smoking causes cancer, we have done research in a sample of patients, then we have generalized that particular findings to the whole cancer whole population. Okay, so that is how generalization work. Then for generalization to be valid, it is very important that the sample should be a very good representative of the population, which I've already mentioned during the beginning of the session. Okay, so after analyzing and inputting the data and generalizing, then what we are doing is the writing part. Okay, we should report the findings. We should write the report. Report writing is a final process. It is a very critical step because we are writing down what our researchers were, what our findings were. So one should be very meticulously doing that particular task. One should be very careful and attentive while doing that task. So why are we doing this report writing? We are doing so that we can communicate our findings to various stakeholders. The stakeholders can be our peers, various practitioners, policymakers, or the academic community. So usually the research report will be a formal statement. Okay, a formal statement, and it's research. It narrates what the problem studied was, whichever method it was used, what are the findings and conclusion of the study. So it is a systematic, it follows a systematic pattern, just mentioned here. So it will be having an abstract, then there will be an introduction session, then there is review of literature, methodology, analysis, findings and conclusion, then there is references and appendix. Okay, so what is abstract? Abstract usually is a very small version of the entire research. Okay, the abstract contains the entire research in say 150 words or so. Okay, very concise format of the entire research. It is usually placed at the beginning of the research article. We are placing it. So if you have seen any articles, you can easily see the abstract of that particular particular article. Okay, so it will be saying, okay, we have studied this thing, we have studied using this methods, we have studied this person, we have founded this things. Okay, that's how small the abstract will be. It is very concise in nature. Then at the below of abstract, there will be keywords of that particular article. So if I have studied achievement motivation among orphans of my suppose achievement motivation among the orphans of Kerala. So I'll be like, this study is trying to explore the relationship between achievement motivation and orphans in Kerala. It was done among 100 samples. I used this particular methods for data collection. I used this particular methods for analysis, and this were my findings. Then the keyword will be orphans, Kerala, achievement motivation, etc. Okay, so that is how abstract part works. Then there is introduction part. In introduction part, we will be introducing what our topic is, how we why this topic, okay, why this topic, how we reach that topic, what this topic actually is. So we are introducing what our research is, how we reached on our research problem. So if I'm studying achievement motivation among the orphans in Kerala, I will be writing what orphan is, what do I mean by orphan, it details what do I mean by achievement motivation, theories of achievement motivation, things like that I will be mentioning out there. Okay, that is how introduction part works. Then there is review of literature. Review of literature part, there will be studies, previous studies and their findings. Okay, so I will be like, this person has already researched achievement motivation on in this year. His findings were this things. He has used this methods. Okay, one literature. Then another will be Mr. X has in this year 2000 studied achievement motivation among orphans in England, and this were his findings. These all methods will be used. So likewise, I am writing down whatever reviews or whatever articles are already there out there. So I'll be stating down all those review of literature. Then at the end of the review of literature, we will be stating the research problem. Okay. So first I will be introducing the topic, then I will be writing the review of literature. After that, I will be stating my research problem. So if I'm doing quantitative research, I will be stating my hypothesis also after research problem. Then there is methodology part. In methodology part, I will be telling whatever methods I am using, I used for this research. So if I have used experimental design, I have used experimental design. I have used this methods. I have used this method for sampling. I have used this method for analysis. All those information regarding the methods I used for the research is usually written down in methodology part. Okay. Then there is analysis part. In analysis part, I will be analyzing the data. Okay. Watch the data I collected. I will be breaking down the data. I will be analyzing. I will be if I am using quantitative methods, that quantitative statistical method, that analysis part will be at that particular page. If I'm doing qualitative research, I will be writing down my patterns. I identified the analysis I use, all those things regarding analysis. I will be writing down in analysis part. Then there is findings and conclusion part. In findings and conclusion part, I will be writing down whatever my findings were. Okay. So if I have studied achievement motivation among orphans of Kerala, I will be suppose I found out that there is a positive relationship between achievement motivation and being orphan. Those who are orphaned have high achievement motivation. So all those findings I will be writing down in a findings and conclusion part. Okay. And then further suggestions for next research, I will be writing down in that findings and conclusion part. Then after that, there is references and appendix part. In the references and appendix part, I will be writing down whatever articles I have referenced for this purpose of research. Whatever I have read, all those things are put down according to that research. There are particular systems for referencing. So according to that systems of referencing, I will be putting down all those references. So if I'm doing research in a field of humanities, I will be following APA style. If I'm doing research in the field of art, I will be going by MLA style. So all those will be according to the field of study and according to the research style I will be putting down. Okay. Then there is appendix part. In appendix part, I will be attaching if I have used any test, questions, questionnaire. So suppose I have studied the particular study using a test, achievement motivation test. So I will be attaching that particular achievement motivation test in the last of the page. Or if I have studied this particular topic by using some questionnaire, I will be attaching that particular questionnaire. Or there are tables or there are any other extra information I needed or I have used in that particular research, I will be adding that in the appendix part. So that is how research report works. Okay. I hope you have been clear about different steps of research. If anyone have any doubts at any point of steps of research, kindly ask me. Okay. In 5 minutes, you can ask me. If you have not any further doubt, we will be discussing the previous year questions. Okay. So everyone can ask me any questions if you have any. Any questions, dear? Any doubt you can ask. Okay. If I am very, I'm going very fast, you can say that. Okay. I'm personally a fast speaker. So there are chances that I go very, fastly. So you can mention that. Okay. Someone. Okay. Research design types, please. Okay. Research design types. Actually, I have discussed in the last session. That is why I didn't go into detail. So the types of research and research design that are actually overlapping only. So there are research design. First is explanatory research design. So if we are trying to study a research which is explanatory in nature, we are trying to explain a particular phenomena, then we will be using explanatory research. Then there is exploratory research. So we are trying to explore a particular phenomena. So then at that point of time, we will be using exploratory research, which is usually qualitative in nature. Then exploratory research, sorry, explanatory research is usually quantitative in nature. Then there is descriptive research. Descriptive research is usually descriptive in nature, which commonly deals with quantitative and qualitative data. So if you're trying to describe a phenomena, we will be going by descriptive research design. Let me tell you an example. So if I'm trying to describe what achievement motivation is, I'm trying to, in my research, I'm trying to describe what achievement motivation is, then I will be going by descriptive research. Okay. At the same time, I'm trying to understand if there is a cause-effect relationship between achievement motivation and suppose personality. Okay, achievement motivation and personality, whether there is an cause-effect relationship, then I will be going by explanatory research. Or if I'm trying to explore a new phenomena, suppose a new personality trait, then I will be going by exploratory research or qualitative aligned designs. Okay, so that according to your research question or research problem, one will choose the research design. Okay. Okay. If you are texting, kindly make it public. Okay. That way it will be easy for me and it will be an encouragement for other people to ask questions too. Okay. So I hope there are no more doubts. We'll be diving into the previous year questions part. Okay. So this part, I am expecting very much participation from you guys. During the last session, it was very much participative and I really appreciate those people who participated. So this session, I wanted that much participation from you people. So the first question goes like this. Arrange the following steps involved in a research process in correct order. Collecting the data, reviewing the literature, reporting the research outcome, identifying a research problem, analyzing and interpreting the data. So Ubama has said the option has D. Anyone else? Anyone else? Any options? Anyone, please? So Ubama said D. We can look into the option D. In D, the first option is identify. Akshaya has said B. Okay. So here, the first and foremost, we'll have to identify the research problem. Okay, so identification of research problem is D. After identification, one should review the literature. So B. Okay, B. After reviewing the literature, one should collect the data. Okay, there are other steps, but in this, the next step will be collecting the data. Then after collecting the data, one should analyze and interpret the data. That is E. Then after analyzing and interpreting the data, one should report the research outcome. So the correct order will be D, B, A, E, C. So the correct answer is D. Okay. So Ubama, correct answer. So that was a congratulations for Ubama. Okay, Akshaya, I'm appreciating your participation. Okay, then there is next question. This is also an arrangement question only. In this question, you have to arrange the following steps pertaining to quantitative research in correct order. Okay, so which will be the correct answer? Anyone? There is analyze the data, hypothesis, process data, findings, research design. So in quantitative research, what should be the first step? The first step should be research problem. The research problem is not there. Then the next step is review of the literature. Review of literature is not there. Then the next step is formulation of hypothesis. Hypothesis is there. Okay. Okay. Obama had said D. Okay. And let me give you an example. A hint. The first step should be B. The first step is B. Because hypothesis is the first thing to do. After hypothesis, what should one do? Okay. As we are discussed, what should be doing after? Okay, Obama had said B. Okay. So first is hypothesis. After hypothesis, one should go for research design. Then research design, one should collect data. Collection of data is not there, but process data is there. So research design, process data, analyze data, findings. So the correct option is B, E, C, A, D. So again, a clap for Obama. Okay. Then the next question is identify the correct reason for writing a literature review. So why do we need to do a literature review? That is the question. You need to know what is already known in connection with your research area. It may help you with the development of an analytic framework. It will help you with the interpretation of your findings. It may suggest further questions for you. Which is the correct answer? Okay, Obama had said B. Okay, anyone else? There are like many participants out there, but no one is responding. Abdurrahman has said D. Okay. Actually, the correct answer is D because all these options align with the purpose of literature review. The first option is you need to know what is already known. That is a major purpose of literature review. Okay. Second is it may help you with the developing an analytic framework or theoretical framework or analytic framework. The literature review will be helping, which is also a correct answer. Next is it will help you with the interpretation of your findings. That is also a purpose of literature review. Next is it may suggest further research questions for you. It is also correct answer. So A, B, C, D is the correct answer. So a clap for Abdurrahman. Okay, my clap is not working. Sorry. Okay, that is a clap for Abdurrahman. So the next question is regarding review of literature only. This is a statement type question. The first statement is review of literature helps the researcher with the interpretation of his or her findings. Review of literature is not of any help in learning different theoretical and methodological approaches. Which is the correct answer? Okay, Obama had said C. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, the correct answer is C only because the first statement we just discussed in the last question, the literature review helps the researcher with his or her findings. It is true. The next statement says that literature review is not of any help in learning theoretical framework and methodological approaches. It is wrong, right? Literature review help us in understanding the methodological and theoretical approaches. So the second statement is false. So the correct statement is C. So that is a clap for Obama. So the next question is regarding probability sampling. Okay, which of these options are among the characteristics of probability sampling? First is population bias. Second is sampling bias. Random selection. Okay, Obama had said C. Anyone else? Where are the other participants? Akshaya, Abdurrahman. So the correct answer is C. Okay, population bias and sampling bias. These two are this population bias, sampling bias, and accidental selection. All these three are characteristics of non-probability sampling. Okay, random selection is the one characteristics of probability sampling. So the correct answer is C. Mama, it is for you. Okay, then next question is regarding non-probability sampling. The question is the answer itself showed. Okay, sorry that. One among the following type of sampling techniques, which one is also known as judgmental sampling? I have already said judgmental sampling is also known as purposive sampling. Okay, purposive sampling is the correct answer. Okay, then next question is, which of the following refers to a method of sampling in which a core group of participants who are initially sampled for a research study recruit or recommend other potential participants? Okay, we have said like a chain, right? We have discussed it is like a chain. We will ask one person, then that person will be giving contacts of another person. We will going like chains. Okay, Abdurrahman had said C. Yes, the C is the correct answer. It is snowball sampling. Okay, we are creating a snowball effect. And then there is a person A. We are asking that we are collecting data from A. Then A will recommend us B, C, D. Then there on the other participants. Okay, likewise, there's a chain going on. Okay. So the next question is also about random sampling, sorry, no, non-probability sampling. The question is, in which of the following sampling methods the sample is also known as accidental sample or hazard sample? So Ubama had already quoted the answer as D. You're correct, Ubama. The answer is D, convenient sample. Okay. It is convenient sample, which is also known as accidental or haphazard sample. Okay, then this as a question regarding survey research. Okay, survey that you don't have to confuse which among the following is not an advantage of open-ended questions in survey research. So you have to understand that open-ended questions, which means that you can answer anything and everything. It is open to any suggestions or any answers. It is not closed. Okay, you can answer anything and everything. So what among these will be not an advantage of open-ended questions? Not an advantage. That is important. Okay, not an advantage. Okay, see, Obama is in confusion. Sorry. So first, see, open-ended question. In open-ended question, you can answer or you can answer whichever way you want to the question. So suppose the question is like, what is happiness to you? One question. Okay, that is open. You can say anything and everything. That is how open-ended questions work. Then there is another question which is close-ended. It will be like, are you happy? Yes or no. Okay, so the answer is very close-ended. You can either choose yes or you can either choose no. So that is how close-ended question is. There are simple options. You have to confine your answer to that option. That is how close-ended is. In open-ended, you can answer whichever way you want. So the first option here is they are useful for explaining areas. One second. Sorry. They are useful for explaining areas in which the researcher has limited knowledge. Okay. Respondents can answer in their own terms. They allow unusual responses to be derived. They are easy for the interviewers or respondents to complete. So first option is an advantage of open-ended question, because if the researcher don't know a particular area, if we are using open-ended questions, the other person who knows or who have knowledge about that particular area can give the researcher that particular detail. So it is actually an advantage of open-ended questions. Okay. Second is respondent can answer in their own terms. I have already mentioned that it is a major advantage of open-ended question. The respondent can answer in their own terms. Then there is unusual response, because whatever they want, they can say. So there are chances of unusual response to be derived. Then there are then the last option is they are easy for the interviewers or respondents to complete. That is not right. It is not an it is not easy. Okay, in open-ended questions, it is not easy for completion, because it takes time. It takes time. It takes many time for recording that answers, because it is open-ended. If it was close-ended, it was very easy to administer, because it just has some choices. One has to confine to their choices. So the last option is an advantage of close-ended research, not open-ended questions. It was an example of, it was an advantage of close-ended questions. Okay. So next question is actually an questions regarding close-ended questions. As I said, close-ended question has close answers. It will be yes or no, or it will be like 3 options, 5 options, like that. The question is very close-ended, very close. So which will be the correct answer? See, as the time is running out, let me answer it for you. The correct option is option A. The unusual responses is a characteristics of open-ended research. Easiness is a characteristics of close-ended research. reduction of variability is a advantage of close-ended research. On the other hand, difficult to administer is a characteristics of open-ended research. Increase in the variability is an advantage of open-ended research. Increase in variability or unexpected answer is an advantage of open-ended research. Loss of spontaneity is a characteristics of closed-ended research. On the other hand, increase of spontaneity or spontaneity in general is a characteristics of open-ended research. Okay, open-ended questions. Then, when a fixed list of questions is administered to all participants in the same order, it is known as, so we are having a fixed number of questions. It is given in that particular order to every participant. It is usually happen in structured interview. The interview is very much structured. It has a fixed number of questions. It is administered in a fixed style and everything. So that is a that is a characteristic of structured interview. Okay, so that is about today's session. I hope steps of research is clear to you. And let me tell you again, this is a very important session. Questions are coming from this area again and again, especially this literature review part. That question was just from the last session. Then the sampling part, non-property sampling part, then different type of data collection methods. So you have to look into all these parts in detail again. Okay, I have covered the basics. Then now you have to read it in detail. We have roughly like 39 days. So you have to work really hard, focus on previous questions, so that you can understand how the questions are coming, which questions are frequently asked, which questions are less frequently asked. Okay, how the question is structured. So all those things can be decoded by all those questions can be decoded through previous year questions. Okay, PPT. See, I'm not in the group, so I cannot provide it in the group. This PPT will be available in the app, Aifer app. I think you can access it in the learning material. In learning material, there will be a folder called Paper 1 Live Session. In that, you can access this. You can access this PPT. If this PPT is not available to you, you can connect with your mentor. They will help you locate the PPT in the app. Okay, PYQs, that also I think you can connect with your mentor. We are giving ebooks. Aifer is giving ebooks for practicing. So they will be giving you that. Then there are PYQs in your app also. You can practice that in the app also. So please connect with the mentor. The person will be giving all those directions. Okay, so I think we can end the session. Good night, everyone. I'm ending. Okay, you can leave. Bye.